Hi, Melanie and Nancy. You're going to be getting an email from Heather in our department here. We were just looking at the plans. One thing, Melanie, I think that Jen mentioned to you, Heather's going to forward the email. You do not have the building on the parcel lines for the new city hall. That requires a variance. So variances have to be done before planning commission. So we might need a modification to the submitted plans that put the property on the parcel line. So Heather we just were meeting about that with Eric. So Heather will be sending that email out to you after this meeting.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
You just got to basically move it up on the parcel line because of the zoning district requirement. We have a very busy meeting tonight.
I saw, it's a big agenda.
Yeah. Planning commission tonight as well.
Well, I think it's 3 o'clock. Close enough.
I don't think, Howard, we have a quorum yet.
Okay. We have
Dennis, Bridget.
and Bridget.
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah, there's 3.
I can't get my camera so that I actually have a face. If my tie will be there, I guess that's good enough.
Just rest your chin on the desk.
Yeah, right. I have no idea what happened to cause this, but typically a problem that that's a little bit better. If I get back
Duct tape.
far enough. So we only have 3 people.
Yeah, but, oh wait, here comes Kevin and Dave. Just one moment. They're being admitted now. They just logged in.
Great.
Dave just joined. Howard, Kevin's joining now. So I believe
Eric
now,
here?
Eric, no, you're right. Eric is not on yet. It's 2:59 according to my computer clock. Oh, here comes Eric right now.
Good.
Excellent.
Hello, Brad.
We have Eric now in the house. Okay, I think, Howard, we have everyone present.
Okay, good. Then we'll have a call to order and a roll call, please, Bridget, or whoever.
I can do the roll call. That's fine. Howard Boyle,
Here.
Dennis Sachs,
Here.
David Pasista,
Here.
Bridget Tipton,
Here.
Kevin Kugel.
Here.
Great. And that is the Architectural Review Board meeting for Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. And it's 3 o'clock. So Eric, are you there to give the oath of office to anyone who's speaking?
For anyone who's going to be testifying before the Architectural Review Board, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give before the Architectural Review Board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please say I do.
Do.
Good. Very good. Thank you. So first on the agenda is the City of Kent's Water Street Administration Building. And Melanie, are you going to be speaking? Who's speaking into this? Are you?
I
Are
will
you-
go ahead. I will go ahead and start, Mr. Boyle. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melanie Baker. I'm the service director with the City of Kent, and I will be using the address of 930 Overholt, the Service Administration Complex, as my address today. I want to thank you for your time. I am here before you on behalf of the City Administration as well as the City Council to present to you what I hope to be our new Kent City Hall. I don't know, Bridget, if you have pictures or you'll be putting those up, or you just want me to do the narrative first.
Why don't you just do the narrative, because we all have pictures.
Perfect. Okay. So what is before you today is we will be replacing the old police department at 319 South Water Street with our new administration building. The building itself will be approximately 28,000 square feet, and it will house all of our administrative offices, from the mayor to the city manager to our finance department and all of those other departments. It is located at the intersection of Water Street and Haymaker. From the front entrance, we'll have two entrances. The one entrance will be at street level, right at that intersection that will bring you in. And at that very point will be a beautiful atrium area that goes up a total of 3 stories from the outside. It is a glass element, as you saw, that is both steel as well as glass. Off of that central element are the 2 wings of that, and that, of course, will be our standard brick, giving a nod to our past and the downtown area. From the street side, on that side, we're going to be about 52 feet high. At that intersection, you'll enter into a 2-story atrium and have the ability to go up from there or go to your right into the council chambers. You'll also have a second entrance off of the back area, or the area that comes in off of Day Street, which is the parking area. At that point, off of the back entrance, the height of the building there will be, approximately, oh goodness gracious, 2 stories, so a little under 30 feet tall at that point. And you're entering right in at the second level, the middle area of that atrium. So you'll have the ability to look down into the nice open area, or be able to look around and see the finance area right there. From there, you'll have the opportunity to go up into our main office area. The outside materials on the 2 wings, again, are going to be our brick material with some nice dark white or sandstone color elements, both above the council chambers with the arch, along with the whole area across the top, enclosing that parapet area. There'll be a nice landscape area and some landscaping walls from the outside to help break up that window, along with some nice landscape that will kind of be able to frame that in and make it a little bit softer with some of the trees and the shrubs and bushes that we've gotten. We've tried to address the sidewalk areas and the entrance ways, both connecting with the existing bike path that is there, but also bringing you then south on South Water Street to be able to have a connection to the rear of the building as well. We see this as being the beginning of our administrative complex, because right behind that, of course, as you know, is our fire department, then our police department, kind of framing that whole side of Haymaker. So unless there are any questions, or if you want me to hold up materials, I do have that.
I have a couple of questions for you, Melanie. The color appears to be gray. Is that, are you doing gray instead of white?
So the atrium itself, yes, it was chosen that the brick will be a medium brick color, with the central atrium being more of a medium gray, not a silver tone and not a dark gray, but a medium gray. Yes.
Okay, so it's not white like it had been in the past.
Correct. There was a little, not everybody really enjoyed that bright silver, if you will, that had looked more of the white.
Okay, and the windows, you've chosen the window to be a single window instead of a upstairs window and a downstairs window.
That's correct.
Okay. You know, I have to tell you, we spent a lot of time with the architects on this, and it just appears to me that they didn't listen to us. Those windows, we said several times, that's not what we're looking for. We were looking for distinct windows up and down, at least I was. I think that the grayness of that big area is unusual at best. That is, it almost gives the impression that it's a distinct appendage from the building, which I don't necessarily think was the concept originally. It was all, it was supposed to enhance the building instead of just stick out there like in Battleship Gray. You know, I like the cap that you have on the building. I think you did a nice job with that. But overall, I really think we've fallen short of what we were planning, what we were hoping for as far as a building design. And it pains me to say that when we spent so much time with the architects, and I guess we just got what they wanted anyway. So it doesn't really make any difference. So many times what we suggest, they're going to do what they want to do. So I'm just one thought. Let's hear from everybody if we can. Who's next?
Oh, go ahead.
Good, Dave.
Go ahead, Dave.
I would say I tend to agree with you, Howard. The front structure there doesn't even seem like it's attached to the building. And also the signage, the big bold letters, Kent City Hall, seems to be a little much. Maybe something a little more subtle. Yeah, and the windows, wow, a lot of windows, and not really what we talked about. So yeah, pretty much echoing your sentiments, Howard.
Kevin, were you
Yeah, I have a specific question about the main entrance tower element there. The top of it, the top horizontal band of windows. Are those windows? Because as you look at it from the rear, you know, it's just a parapet. Is that glass, or are as the bottom three horizontal element parts of that would be? What is that? I mean, are we looking through glass to see the HVAC unit on the roof beyond?
No, the front of it should all be glass that would go into the third story. Is that correct, Nancy?
Well,
You're not
the
looking
whole,
through-
the curtain wall assembly continues all the way up to have a continuous curve and a continuous facade, kind of this lantern at the corner of the building. So the curtain wall does extend up, but it is opaque at the top because it does extend up over the parapet. So that part, it's the same material, but it is opaque as the kind of the spandrel panels, similar to the spandrel panels. So you will not be able to see through it, but yet it has a consistent appearance on the corner of the building there for the whole curtain wall.
All
I
right.
think I understand what Kevin's asking. Kevin, you have to realize this is on multi-floors.
Yes.
So the back, so that those windows you're referring to will look in on the third floor. That would,
Correct.
right.
Correct. But just below where the sign Kent City Hall, you have that horizontal band on the I guess that would be the north side. It appears to be windows, but it's not windows. And then below that, it's glass windows that are transparent.
Mhm.
Nancy, can you share your
That's
screen
correct.
perhaps? Typically, the designer shares the screen, and that might help to make sure we're all talking about the same thing. Thank you.
Sure, let me,
I think he's
Why
talking
won't it
about
let
the
me?
elevation with I think you're talking about the round part in the front, Kevin, on the top of that.
Yes. And then
Right.
also, when you see the view, the sort of the aerial view from the rear entrance, and you see that tower extending, it looks like about 8 feet or so, 6 feet or so above the roof.
all right, I am attempting to share my screen. So can everyone see my screen? Let me go back up to these.
Yeah,
Where the
yes,
pictures
thank
are.
you.
I can see your screen now.
Okay,
There you go. That's a good view.
yeah,
So right where you get your cursor, oops, the top,
right,
obviously the top
Right
left
there.
photo. Yeah. So that horizontal part is not windows, but below that, it's all glass. It's all
Correct.
windows. And
that is correct.
then when you go up to the top right photo, obviously you can see the other side of that. There you go.
Yep,
And
So again, it extends up and it becomes basically a parapet wall up there. And it extends up that high. Again, we're trying to emphasize the corner and kind of create this lantern on the corner. So that is why architecturally we wanted it to be taller. And then it does become it becomes a screen wall for the equipment that's behind it.
Right.
But it would be, the curtain wall is continuous up, but it's basically an opaque panel at the very top.
So in the evening, when it's dark, for example, that top horizontal band is not going to have any interior illumination from the interior lights coming through it, but everything below it will.
Right. But there is light up at the very top. There's going to be backlight behind the Kent City Hall sign. So the outside of the building will be lit, as well as the light from inside the building itself will shine through.
Right. And I think it's just going to be really odd in the evening, specifically, where the interior of the building is lit up, that atrium is lit up, except for that top parapet horizontal opaque band. And I guess what I would, after thinking about it, I would wonder why is that tower not only as high as the atrium? It's you have this false tower above the roof, false atrium above the roof, and yeah, I see where, okay, this is the main entrance, and so we're making this taller, but we're making it taller and trying to say that the atrium is taller when it really isn't. I don't know, what is your response to that, or especially, the effect of the evening interior light not going up as tall as the exterior tower is. Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I would say we made it taller for a proportion of building, and especially if you look at this, the middle image to the left there, where we have council chambers, and then the building kind of steps up and then it steps up again. So we did it for a proportional element on the corner of the building. That's about what I can say to that. We did do, I don't have it with me right now, a nighttime rendering of that. We didn't include it in here. I don't have it with me right now, but we can share that. We'll send that to you so you can see what that would look like.
And just if I could address that just a moment, just remember that the atrium itself on the inside of the building is only 2 stories. The 3rd story in the center there is actually a conference room. So the anticipation of 3 stories being completely lit, I think, isn't probably going to be doable. I don't see us leaving lights on in that conference room all night either. So
can I help you with something?
What?
I don't know who that was.
I don't know who that was either. Anyway, okay, that's very good. Thanks, Kevin, and you can certainly continue speaking if you like, or someone else can. Dennis, did you have anything that you'd like to say about this?
Yeah, I think, the main masses of the building where we have the windows and the spandrel panels in between, I think that's where the spandrel panels should be brick. So it separates into individual windows rather than a long, tall element there. And is anybody else bothered by the fact that that tower on the corner does not come around and wrap into the wall that is parallel to Haymaker Parkway? It just seems like such an abrupt cutoff when it turns there.
Right, I agree. Yeah, doesn't seem attached.
And I don't know if Dennis.
It's intentionally not attached. We have a reveal there to intentionally have a separation between those 2 elements of the building.
Okay, so you're doing it as a standalone entity.
Correct. Since it is completely different from the rest of the building, we felt that it should be separated out, and there's like a little isolation on either side. It steps back a little bit so that almost like a reveal in the building.
So you chose
those disparate materials right next to each other.
You chose to do that instead of bringing the entire building around in a semicircle.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And a question I have about the the South Water Street elevation, that section before you get to the council chambers, is that higher? It appears to be higher than the Haymaker Parkway side. Is that
It
right?
is not.
It is
No,
not?
it's the same. No, it is not. It's the same height on either side.
Same height.
It's kind of the way the perspective looks here, but this, the 3-story, if you will, building, on either side, it's the same height. The cornice is at the same height.
Certainly does not give the appearance that it is effectively that interior wind, or that 5-story or 4-story glass area is between a building that is symmetrical. I mean, or at least the same height. It has always indicated by your drawings that the South Water Street side appears to be about 3 or 4 feet higher. And that's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not the
Yeah,
case.
it's not the case.
Okay.
And the window, everything, the treatment is exactly the same on both sides of the building, except
Yes.
for where the council chambers is.
Right. Okay, and Bridget, I don't think you've had a chance to speak yet.
Yeah, my audio is working today, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
we got
It wasn't
you.
working last time. Yeah, I have shared concerns over the corner piece, the rounded piece on the corner. I think that it's the massing. I understand that it is taller, of course, because you're drawing attention to that corner. I think proportionally it's taller than it needs to be. And I find it particularly problematic that you're using the term lantern to describe it, and that top piece will not be emitting light. And that it's, I understand that it's screening some mechanical, but just the overall height of the building, I think even with that parapet wall being lowered and kind of more connected, that screening would still be effective. So I do think that it's too tall proportionally, and the opaque panels doesn't make a lot of sense with the way that you're describing it, but also kind of the effect of those opaque panels is, again, kind of problematic. For the material on that curved piece, I don't know how I feel, I guess, about the medium gray, except to say that it is at least a color that is related to the material. So there's some like connection and honesty of material in that. Of course, if it's powder coated, it could be literally any color. But I'm imagining that at least it's an extruded metal, and so the color is a little bit related to its materiality. So in that sense, I think that it makes, there's some material logic with that. I'm happy to not see sort of like decorative stone lintels on each of the windows. I think maybe the curved one in the chambers makes some sense. You know, it's drawing even more attention to that particular window. The spandrel panels on the vertical glazing is, of course, the biggest problem, it seems today. To make that brick is obviously a completely different material detailing than spandrel glass. It would be a pretty it could be a different system in terms of the building envelope. So I do think that changing that is more than an aesthetic choice. There is definitely like again, a building envelope consideration that would occur with that change. So I kind of recognize the challenge that you might have in accommodating those requests. My overall opinion is really about that corner because it is the kind of focal point. And it's maybe possible that some of the renderings are further emphasizing that it's a little too tall or a little bit out of proportion. But the overall height coupled with the strange material choice of the opaque panels, I find that whole kind of region to be problematic.
Okay. So we've got certainly some opinions here. What do you want from us, Bridget? Do you want a certificate of appropriateness?
Well, Eric can speak to this, but it is a city building, so I believe a certificate of appropriateness is not necessary. However, what we can do is summarize your comments and share those with the city and council. Eric, you can chime in if you have a different direction.
And that's the direction that council has given us. So yes, this is just for comments only.
Just for comments only. Well, you have all our comments.
We do.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
would basically, we'll
that being the
summarize
case-
these minutes and share those with,
I would just share it that way. I mean, I think everybody was fairly detailed into what they had to say about it. The only thing I guess I didn't mention, and you've got a couple of people that from the outside that sent letters and they have comments, and I assume those will go to council also.
yeah, I was going to ask actually that did everyone receive the comments that were forwarded by Heather from Rick Hawksley for the record?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah, we can
would ask
forward
that-
all of that to
Yeah.
council as well as to planning commission.
And I guess as a final note, one comment, and I heard this a few times, the Kent City Hall, unless you're planning on having that there so that planes can see it when they fly over it, is really unnecessary. It is a municipal building, but you've also got a sign at the bottom that says where people actually can see it. You've got the logo and you've got Kent City Hall. That is a little bit unusual, I would think, to have that up there. And it sounds to me like you're going to have some lighting around it. I don't know what or at least eliminate the Kent unless you're flying over and trying to identify the city, you probably know you're in Kent if you're driving by it. But anyway, that's just another thought, but I have to tell you, it's a terribly disappointing effort as far as I'm concerned for the building. And I recognize that probably inside it's going to be just what everybody wants. And isn't that nice? But for all of us that don't go inside, as we drive by it, we're going to have to put up with that. And it's in my point of view, a poor rendering. But anyway, you've got all of our information. I think you can take that to them. They're going to do whatever they want to do anyway, so it doesn't really make much difference.
Chairman Boyle, I did want to just clarify too, for the record on a statement earlier. After the Architectural Review Board was participating in some of the earlier sessions, there have been numerous sessions since then with council. So some of these do incorporate input, not necessarily from the design team, but from council, just to clarify that on the record. But we will make sure all of these comments are summarized succinctly and share them with everyone involved.
Well, that's fine, because we recognize, we knew that the council was really doing the heavy lifting on this thing, and this will be their legacy for the rest of their lives. So that's fine. So if there's nothing else that needs to be said on this property, we would move on to the Kent City Schools at 1400 North Manaway Street. And thank you for coming, those people that were here for the city. And Bridget, what are we doing? Obviously, this doesn't require a certificate of appropriateness either.
That is correct, but because these projects are scheduled to go before Planning Commission, they are required to be seen by the Architectural Review Board with regards to a recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Okay, great. Do you have renderings of this?
I believe the designer for Kent City Schools, Brad, is logged in. At least he was going to be, and he should be available to share. Hi, Brad. Can you share a screen of some of the renderings you submitted?
Yes, I can. And just let me know what order you want to look at them.
Basically, what aligns with your presentation would be best. So whatever works for you logically when talking to the Architectural Review Board.
Yeah, first thing,
Okay.
we're looking at the 1400 North Manaway Street.
Yeah, Kent Roosevelt.
Yeah, Roosevelt.
Okay, let me share the screen. Let me know when you see it.
We got it.
Got it.
And let me introduce the superintendent of schools is here also, Mr. Joseph.
Hello.
Hi, George.
So we've been, George, you want to say anything to start the
Brad,
process?
thank you. I just wanted to introduce Brad Gelt, who has been working with us in the Kent City Schools here from TDA. TDA stands for Then Design Architects. And again, Brad, I'm just going to have you go ahead and share our designs.
Thank you. Just we've been working with the district. They have their, I would say, executive committee, or the treasurer and the assistant principal. Quite a number of people that we meet weekly to review the plans, and we've had some community meetings. So a lot of input so far. So at the high school, we're doing two things. One is an addition to the existing gym on the north side of the building, and the other is a new field house in this area. So here's the gym addition, which is on the north end of the building. The existing gym is here. There's an existing women's locker room. So we'll be looking at that in more detail. And the field house is over this way. So these are views of where the new gym addition is going. So there's that existing locker room I mentioned. So there will be a new locker room, multi-purpose room along this side, and then the new gym, the new varsity gym will be coming out here. You'll notice that right now there are stucco panels on the side of the existing gym where windows used to be. Those panels are deteriorated and the birds have gotten to them. So as part of this project, we're going to be replacing those on both sides with metal panels. These sheds will be removed, and then you'll see the new gym here. So this is a view, that first view from the outside. Those are the existing stuccos being replaced by the metal panel. The extension of the locker room area, multi-purpose space. There's a concessions and toilets in here. And then the new entrance for the visitors area for the gym. And then the new varsity gym. This is the view from, which essentially this is a service court now and will remain service court. Metal panel there. There's a new door here for, we've talked to the fire department for ambulance pickup and drop off next to the training room so that they can bring anyone who might suffer an injury out that way. We've looked at the brick. Actually, the school has looked at the brick. This is the selection that was made. It matches closely the existing brick of the gym. So that's what we'll be using. And then these are the sort of flat elevations. On the front of the school, there is a Rough Rider logo as you go in metal. Right now, one of the career tech classes is taking on a project of recreating this logo, and they're talking about putting it here. So if they're successful, that metal logo will be put here as opposed to this sort of more canvas logo. And then you around the building, they do have vinyl applied logos around the building. And so the screen to screen the new rooftop unit will be with that, we'll have that logo on it. These rooftop units that are in the background, actually, when you're down on the ground and we go back to this perspective, they won't really be visible because they're in the middle of the roof. They show up in the elevation, but you can't see them from the ground. So here's the metal panel that we're using to replace the stucco. And then we're using an ACM panel, a metal composite wall panel at the new gym canopy, and similar metal wall panel at the new gym. And then dimensional letters for the entrance to the gym, and then the screen printed graphics. So those, just going back to the rendering. So there's the dimensional letters, screen printed graphics, vinyl letter, and the brickwork. So should I continue on with the presentation or any comments on the?
I just have a quick question about the brick itself. Are you doing the random pattern in the lighter brick?
Yes.
Okay. I thought that's what it looked like, but I couldn't quite see it. So that is the standard random pattern that is all over the school.
Yeah, let's go back to that. We're going to be so the stripes are going to be more of this color.
Yes,
I
understand.
And the field will be this color.
Yeah, but the brick that is, a lot of it is just brick, and you've got it, and besides like that, yeah, that is the random pattern, right?
But in the lighter tones, not in the darker tone.
Yeah. Okay.
If I can just interject, Brad, if that's okay.
Of course.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we really went to extensive lengths to try to match that brick. And as you know, it's tough to do that, but it was the closest match that we could have to the current brick. But it is a new addition, and we wanted it to kind of have its own stamp as well. So I appreciate you asking.
Every time we've adjusted the building, we've done the same thing. So it's probably going to be close enough, and you've got some separation between it. So I think most people are going to think it's effectively the same.
Okay, I just wanted to reiterate one more thing, Brad, and that is, a lot of people refer to our school as Kent Roosevelt. Well, it is really Theodore Roosevelt High School, and Mr. Boyle is a huge active campaigner of keeping the Theodore Roosevelt High School name. Would you say that, Mr. Boyle?
Well, I would tell you that when he first started speaking and he referred to the school as Kent Roosevelt, all I could think of, he's awfully glad that I'm not still on the school board.
But you notice I did on the slide at least have it correct at the bottom.
I have no problems with Roosevelt Rough Riders or Roosevelt High School. It's Kent Roosevelt that bothers me.
So, and again, Howard, I knew that. So
I know. You're just harassing me. I understand that.
All right, thank you.
President Roosevelt's first name was not Kent.
No. Okay, Brad, where are you going from here?
So then the field house, which is a new one-story building at the south end of the stadium.
Do we maybe make comments on the high school before we go on to the next building?
Whatever
Go ahead,
the
Kevin.
board prefers to do.
Could you go back to the site plan showing the parking? I got a question about the parallel parking along Route 43. Is that new?
That is a new lane which was requested by the fire department for fire safety.
Yeah,
all right.
Can I talk just a little bit about that, Kevin? And again, Kevin, boy, you are very good at picking that up. We have had for years, for decades, parents and community members park in the fire lane in front of the school because there was lack of parking. Just to be honest, there was a lack
Right.
of parking. And the fire department and honestly, the police department finally told us at the end of the year last year that they will start ticketing and towing if we don't do something about it. So we included the parallel parking that you see there, Kevin, on the opposite side of where the fire lane is, so that we can still have some additional handicap parking, and that, again, we needed additional spaces that have been put in, but we need even more. And it would still allow us to do the bus lane and have the fire lane without people parking in there. Now, it really pained us to lose green space. It pained us, but the fire department and police department both were very clear that they would start ticketing and towing cars at the expense of the individuals if we didn't do something about it. And this is our the result of that.
Just
Yeah.
as a reminder too, this is a site plan matter, and we do have, not an architectural review matter. So just for the record, that's something that's reviewed by Planning Commission with regards to the lane on the site.
Okay, it doesn't have to do with the building itself, but it has to do with the aesthetics of the site is why I bring it up.
Right.
And so you're adding a third lane there between school and Route 43. And is that intended to be, the parallel parking, is that intended to be like all day parking, or just drop off and pick up parallel parking? Or does it matter? It's just those are spaces and they're there and they're going to be used for whatever they get used for. I guess what I'm in that question, but if you could answer that, then I have a follow-up.
Just so you know, what front yard parking is a matter that would be looked at and discussed as part of the site plan review. So I'm just trying to keep it legal to the documents. Eric, please chime in if you disagree.
Well, that may be the case, Bridget, but I don't think there's a problem with having him ask the question because it is certainly eliminating green space, and that's something that we do look at. And so the question effectively, George, is that going to be parking that would be used during the day? Because that would affect the vision from Route 43 to the building, or is that going to be special event parking, which is effectively what you're using and what's out there now?
Yeah, I would say that it probably would not be used very much during the day because we are extending and expanding the student lot and visitor lot in this plan.
Well, you can control that in a lot of different ways. So that if that would be your intent, I completely understand that.
But to be clear, the Architecture Review Board probably is not able to put regulations to what that parking is used for. So I'm hoping we can move along.
Well, that's entirely up to them. It was just asking the question. They're here. We just had the question. Okay, you want to move on to the gym, the other
Field house.
Field house.
Brad?
Yes, sorry. It stalled for a second there.
Okay.
So this is the view of the present site. These ticket booths will no longer be there. There will be a new fencing. This is about the location of the new field house. There's Stanton in the background. And the field house will be along the south end of the stadium.
Isn't it actually already under construction?
No,
There's site work going on there.
there's the replacing the turf field with an artificial.
Okay.
So no, there's no work has started on the field house, just on the.
This is the soccer
artificial.
field, right? Soccer and lacrosse field.
This is the Roosevelt Stadium field.
Oh, that's the Roosevelt Stadium field.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And
Could we see
Dave,
the-
it's the there's getting new turf at the Roosevelt Stadium field.
Okay, that's all the
that's
work that's going on there then. Okay.
correct.
Okay,
So this is a view from the stands.
okay,
So there are team locker rooms, a training room, public restrooms, and concessions, and then ticket booth along the other side. Similar palette to the gym and to Stanton and to the high school, so that it all blends together. New entry portal, and these piers are part of the project. And then this is the turf field that's going in. That's part of the that's underway now.
and that brick is also the variegated brick, or you're doing something different?
Here we are using a 4-inch high split face block
Okay,
for cost reasons.
all right,
You can see this is a photo on another project. It's actually, I'd say, a fairly attractive product. And it actually looks redder than it does in this sample.
So this is not a brick. This is a concrete block.
It's a split face 4-inch high unit, so it's not an 8-inch high.
Right.
It's it's a nicer looking unit, which is also similar to what they have right now under the stadium.
okay,
The plan, elevations. So on the south side, the ticket windows, and then on the east side, concessions under a canopy, and then on the north side, lots of different things. And the same sort of screen treatment around the RTU.
okay.
So that's the field house.
Okay, any questions about the field house from anyone?
Can you go to the south elevation, please? Is there an opportunity, I guess, and then also in the floor plan, I noticed on this entire south wall, you've got some sort of chase. Is that a plumbing chase or something? But then, except for where the windows are, right below on the south elevation, the entire wall is really thick. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but what I'm looking for ultimately is some more windows on this south elevation.
Well, we do have, essentially plumbing chases all along.
Okay, so does that eliminate any opportunities for windows in those other rooms other than the 2 big locker rooms on the south elevation?
Yes, it does.
Okay, very good.
And then if you look at the picture from the site picture, it's really so far away that, the building will be pretty tiny.
It is a very small
I
building.
think it'll be a real prominent view as people approach the stadium from the south. And I think that's that south elevation is your money shot on approaching the entire stadium. And the north elevation, it's articulated very well with openings and windows and things like that. And then the south is just the back, and we're approaching the stadium from the back of the building. And
Landscaping.
Landscaping would take care of that, yeah, that's right.
well, then
Well, it's well noted, Kevin. Well, any other questions or concerns about the building? I mean, once again, we're not doing a certificate of appropriateness, so whatever we say about it will go to the board and they can do with it as they please.
okay, 2 other concerns, and I'm sure Bridget Susel is going to tell me that these are not in our purview, but I noticed that but as president of the Sports Boosters for 6 years, I have some opinions on this. And I noticed the victory bell is within the football stadium. However, the other sports, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, when they have a victory, they would need to then go into the football stadium to ring the victory bell. And I would like to see that outside of the gates of the football stadium. That's the opinion.
Well, that's
And then
something you could take up with the superintendent anytime you like.
At least here,
Yeah.
And
Can I respond to that?
sure.
Okay, and I'll make it short, Mr. Boyle, I promise. Kevin, I appreciate that, but please know that the new turf is going in so that girls field hockey, girls soccer, girls lacrosse, plus boys soccer, lacrosse, and other events will take place in the stadium. So it's not a football stadium anymore. It is Roosevelt Stadium.
Okay. So that being said, I understand that baseball, softball, the events that take place outside of the stadium, you still have the same issue with the Victory Bell. You need to go into the stadium through the gates. Well, the baseball team wins a game. All right, never mind.
Okay, we understand that. That's logistical issues. Anybody else have any architectural concern about the building? If not, you want to move on to your next building, the 900 Dormore?
Yes, this is a one-story, two-classroom addition to Wool's. It replaces a modular unit, so it has the benefit of eliminating something that doesn't look permanent.
Excuse
also-
me, for a matter of the record, since these are listed as two separate cases, we do need a formal recommendation from the Architectural Review Board to Planning Commission regarding 1400 North Manaway Street before we move on to the next case.
You want a recommendation from us?
Yes, because the recommendation for 1400 North Manaway Street goes to Planning Commission with regards to the properties that were just displayed by the design and the superintendent, the designer and the superintendent. If you look on the agenda, it's a separate case number. So ARB 21-006, we need a motion for a recommendation to Planning Commission on that presentation.
Would anyone like to make
Are we
a,
separating them from the high school and the field house?
The
No.
high school and field house are one case under ARB 21-006, but the case that was just begun, Doramore, is a separate case.
okay. And would someone like to form a recommendation? I would assume a recommendation to approve the plans presented based on what was presented. And Kevin, you may have a comment to regarding windows in the one building, if you like. You can.
That's exactly how I would summarize it. I would recommend that we accept the projects as presented on this date. And I would also add to that recommendation that the south side of the field house be presented more as an entrance and less as the back of the building by adding windows or some other articulation that says welcome.
Now, if we'll need a second for that, and if you don't agree with that, committee, we just, it would die without a second. But that is entirely up to the group. Is there a second as Kevin has presented it?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, we can vote on that. And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 That was 4 and 5. So it's a unanimous and all opposed. Okay, great. There you go, George.
Thank you.
And once again, that's just a recommendation. So now you want to move on to the 900 Doramore property?
Yes, which is Walls Elementary School.
Yes.
The one-story, two-classroom addition with the elimination of an existing modular unit, which will help improve the site. So the addition is going on the southwest. It's not really visible from the street. It's right here,
Okay,
or right there. And then looking from here that way, you see this playground. So those are kind of the existing conditions. These are so it's a new addition. It has a firewall that separates it, and that's part of the reason for the height here, because we need to have a 30-inch high parapet to separate it from the existing building. And that's a kind of a view, again, matching brick.
okay.
And I think we found a brick that's very close to the existing brick. So it's, a modest addition, but.
Just two classrooms.
Right.
Okay. Any questions for Brad on this or George?
I have one question. The link that connects the two, the addition, or the link that connects the addition to the existing building. I'm just really curious, and this is an aesthetic question also, it leads to that. Why is it so deep on the exterior? Why not just bring those doors out closer to the width of the entire existing and addition? It just seems like there's a giant leaf catcher, those alcoves on the exterior.
It's really for fire separation and separating the two buildings.
So the fire separation is only the width of the alcove, about 8 feet wide.
Correct. That's essentially a separate building. Let's see. So this is land.
That's a good view.
Well, it's also to get exiting from existing corridor.
So those two doors that are in the walkway that go to the exterior, why are they not the width of the addition?
I mean, why are the doors not wider? Is that the question?
No, like you have door A101.1. Why is that not further over to the left? And 0.2 door.
I mean, way over here?
Yeah.
This is a separate structure to separate these two structures.
It's just the way it's designed. I mean, it's just that you wanted fire separation, and that's how you got your fire separation.
And egress from the existing building.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a separate building, frankly, sitting on the back. You're not putting it into the other building. Is that correct?
Yes, and we need to be able to exit the existing load.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Could we get if there are none, we will once again need a recommendation to approve the building plans as presented, I guess.
I'll make a recommendation that the board approve the plans as presented for the Walls Elementary Edition.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, great. Thanks, George. Thanks, Brad, for coming. It's always
Thank you very much.
It's always fun to see additions to the high school and the schools because they, especially for me, because I spent so much time with them. And it's just a tremendous asset for the community.
Mr. Boyle, I just really appreciate our community providing us a no new tax bond issue to get all of this accomplished. I'm excited about the turf field. I hope all of you, once it's done this August, that you get a chance to take a look firsthand And again, it's an exciting time for the Kent City Schools. It's wonderful that we're putting in some secure vestibules for every single one of our 6 buildings and bringing them up to the standards that brand new buildings are going to be providing students and staff. And now our existing buildings will have that same quality. So again, thank you, Architectural Review Board, for your approval.
You're welcome, George. Thank you. And thanks, Brad, for coming.
Mr. Boyle,
Good seeing you, Brad.
a comment before the next case? The applicant for the next case has been sending messages in chat to clarify for the public record. We cannot respond or acknowledge chat because they're not in the public record, nor can we dismiss someone that's been added to a meeting. Thank you.
Okay. So Bridget, are we going on to garage 108?
Yes, we are. I just wanted to respond to the
Is there-
private chats that I cannot acknowledge during the record, that the reason why they're being not responded to.
Is there anybody that will be speaking to that?
Yes, the applicant, I believe, is on the Zoom meeting.
Valerie Landis. Okay, Valerie.
Hi, everyone. So
Hello.
nice
Hello.
to finally meet you all. With COVID, you know, it's challenging to put faces and names together. So I'm glad we're all able to be here now. I do have my architect, Kevin, on the line. So not to be confused with, I think there was another Kevin on the call as well. But we have the building 108 West College Street. It is just adjacent to your City Hall building. So that was timely to be in this meeting with you and to see those plans. I'd like to start off by just saying I appreciate your time, and I wanted to present just a couple of key things for the structural outside of the building that we wanted to get approved today. I'm going to share my screen here and show you photos.
I like that. Oh.
Yeah.
So the first item that we need your approval for is the garage door replacements. Currently, there's 2 garage doors on the backside of this large warehouse building. They were rusty, gross, and rather dingy looking. And so what we'd like to do is add a new design that is more see-through. It mimics actually the fire department garage doors, and replace the 2 on the back and the 1 on the front.
Valerie, can I suggest, if you've got an overall picture of the site as part of the presentation, either in the rendering or in the 8.5 by 11 narrative, sort of provide the big picture, and then we can work down to the details.
Sure. So here's an aerial photo. Is my screen showing you everything?
That's fine. You're good.
Okay, great. Here's an aerial photo from the top where you can see the 108 address and then the adjacent 112 West College, and then 122, and then a parking lot, and then address 126, and then a grassy area. And then here's another aerial view, just more of a top down, where you can see the property. And I don't know, it's the street that is right next to Highway 59 and Route 43. So right across from the City Hall.
We're all familiar with the property.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. So here's the garage doors that we are proposing. And then additionally, here are the windows. What we'd like to do is restore this warehouse, keep as much of the natural aesthetics as possible to keep the integrity of the building. And so the windows would be very similar with the exact same panels, just what's available to order. is a little bit different where the openings are, but the windows themselves are going to be that large pane with small planes inside of them. So currently the windows existing leak cold and hot air. So it's hard to keep any kind of regulated temperature in that space. So there's two large window frames in the front and then two smaller window frames on the side on the parking lot level. And then we have a proposed new building sign, which is, I can lay out even a bigger picture for you, but basically just saying our name, Garage 108, and it's actually on a track. So it'll be illuminated in white, and the track will be the same color as the building and match and kind of like blend in. So there'll be the sign on the front and then the sign in the direct back. And then we just need to touch up some of the paint, and then we'd love to do some landscaping and make it more ADA compliant, which it currently is not. Due to this like 1920s building structure, there needs to be some creative, work done on the landscaping to allow ADA compliance throughout. So there's that part too. And then so that would include some changes to the back landscape and the loading dock and extend the parking lot, which we've currently sponsored with the Main Street Kent, where the huge planter boxes are, or like the huge stone round boxes are, proposing to shift that, and then a driveway in the front, which currently has 3 parking meters with 4 spots right next to the fire hydrant in front of the building structure on College Street. So that's the key items we were looking for approval today. I don't know if you want to talk out each one of them.
Val, we'll just probably go down through and there'll be some comments, I'm sure. My first question would be that you're replacing all the windows. I assume these are going to be energy efficient thermopane type windows, because what you have there now are industrial type windows. So those will all be new windows. And in fact, it sounds like you're replacing all the windows in the building. Is that correct?
So just the top level buildings in the front. So if I go back to like a more front picture, it'd be this window in the front. This window's fine.
Okay.
And then the garage door would be replaced to match it. So it's bringing in more light. It's allowing the natural light to come in. It's cleaning them up. It's making them energy efficient.
I understand. Is the garage door going to be the same as the one in the back?
Correct.
Okay. And then the side windows, are you replacing the side windows?
Yeah. So currently the side windows
are going to be replaced.
Yep, it'll be replaced as well. And they have a white trim, which matches the white trim of the building too. So everything aesthetically is trying to color coordinate. And
my other question was, it appears that all of the buildings there have been repainted.
Yes, there's 3 buildings that are very close together.
I understand. But you're not involved with the Canadian Club or the that's not your building, is that correct?
The building that we own is 108 West College.
Okay,
but
so you just have the one building and the parking area on the side where the gas station used to be.
Yeah, correct. But we have been working with the building neighbors. So are
they going to do something also, or is that something different?
So our buildings are all connected. Last summer, we redid the roof to prevent the water leaking issues that were coming into the building. So we put a lifetime roof on the top of the flat roofs. It was a silicone.
All 3 buildings?
Well, the Karate Club building, the 122 building, is actually sloped, and has the regular roof, like a house roof style, the roofing style.
Asphalt shingles.
It's asphalt shingle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Canadian Club and the Garage 108 building are connected. And actually our second floor is connected. So we have a lease agreement for that space as well.
Okay.
And plans to renovate the entire property. But we also are working with building 126 to talk about a community.
Which one is 126? Oh, that's the Remax building?
Remax.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Charlie Thomas's property. So he has the parking lot right between our buildings.
Right.
Yeah. And so then we've connected with him to help them update the paint as well and put in community trash cans at dumpsters and work together as a block to clean up this entire block. If you haven't looked in the back recently, there's tons of shrubbery, tree, years of neglect and rocks that are falling down. And so we're trying to just clean up the entire block. That's the goal.
Okay. And the only other comment that I would have would be about the sign. We have not been approving internally lit signs in the downtown, and that I would assume that would go with here. So I don't have a problem with the sign as long as it's size-wise appropriate, but it would need to be externally lit. Letters, you can still put the letters up there, but there would normally be, and you'll see it around town in other areas, there would be lights above it just shining down on it, if that's what you want to do. But internally lit signs, especially LED type signs, are not. We've never considered that to be appropriate for these buildings.
So the karate club sign that is 2 doors down, it's the very same design, just with our font choice. So it's on the track guideline, and it just melts into the building essentially. So it has an exterior component to it where it's standing out a little bit from the brick, but then it lights up in a, like, it's timed with the weather. So if there's no sun out, then it gets lit up a little bit. But it's that white color, which would match the framing of the windows, the garage doors, and the trim around the top of the roof that we installed. So it is that, standing out color palette.
I understand, but the building across the street from it when it was designed, that entire building is designed without lights, without windows that are, or signs that are lit. And we've been, if you're saying this is a lit sign,
this karate building right here is a lit sign. This is a flat sign that we painted white. And then this sign was lit as well. Yeah, the previous.
And we would not approve that today. What I'm saying to you is that may be the case back when that was done, but this would be, I would not recommend an interior lit sign when we've been turning them down all over downtown.
Okay.
Any other comments?
What are we going for here? What's the request that is being asked for here, Eric or Bridget Susel?
All the exterior changes that she's highlighted, which include the windows, the garage doors, the signage, and the changes to the exterior structure that you went through today.
And this would take a certificate of appropriateness. Is that correct?
Right. It is a certificate of appropriateness. So she needs that in order to go forward with it.
Okay, very good.
And the things that have already been done that weren't approved before,
The painting will need to be approved. That was done without coming to the Architectural Review Board. So that would have to be added to the list as well.
and so there's the painting that was done to the 3 attached buildings, and then they're requesting for the Remax building to paint that. That's an additional item.
The Remax building is not part of this request.
No.
No, I was simply just saying that we're we're working with our neighbors to make the entire block cleaned up, improved. The paint that used to be on the building was chipping, falling off, multicolored, and had many different color schemes. And now it brings more uniformed vision and color palette in one place.
We completely understand what you're doing.
It was explained to Mrs. Landis that nothing should have been done to the exterior without coming to the architectural
That's right.
review board first, but it was caught after she had already painted it. So the rest of the changes, she's been notified, need to come before you before they can be made for a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay.
And then I'm just trying to define the scope here. So are we only talking about the Garage 108 building, or are we also including the karate and the Canadian Club building?
Yeah, the Garage 108, the karate and the
Canadian Club are not employed.
need to come separately for their exterior paint.
Right.
So we have leases with both the top floors of the Canadian Club
That's
and
fine, but that has nothing to do with us today.
You're not the property owner though, so they should have actually, all of the owners should have come to the architectural review board prior to doing any changes to the exterior and gotten a certificate of appropriateness for the color. So
Right.
at this point, as the property owner, it's specific to 108 West College only. And the other ones will be notified that they need to come before the architectural review board for that pink color as well.
Okay, thank you.
So it's garage doors, windows, signs, and paint color is what I have on my list. Unless Eric and Heather, I missed anything, please chime in.
I have a question about the sign.
Yes.
Bridget, is it a preference or a requirement to not, like the internally illuminated, is it just?
That's a good Heather question. I'm gonna let Heather answer that one. Heather, can you chime in?
Yep. Internally lit signs are allowed. It's just the preference of the ARC board that they are not appropriate for the downtown area, but they are in our code that says they are permitted.
Right.
Okay.
So with the garage doors being see-through, the new windows bringing in more light, the idea behind a backlit sign like this was so that the letters would stand out and float. And that's the purpose of the being on a track system.
I understand. Any other questions from the board?
I have concerns or comments.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I really like the overhead doors that you're proposing and the new windows. I think that's going to make the building look a lot sharper and obviously make it more efficient and nicer on the inside. And, you know, frankly, if you were coming to us now and proposing to paint this building and the other two black, I would be voting against this. This is also an item that we had on a previous project and it went down. They were proposing to paint a building black, but it was not within the overlay district. So we didn't have the authority to veto it. But this is, and the fact that it's already been done makes it that much more tricky to deal with at this point. And at the same time, you know, if the owners of the Remax building come and they suggest painting their brick, I would vote against that too. You know, brick has a lifetime finish to it. It doesn't need to be painted. I don't know what the condition of the brick is on that building, but I would vote against painting that any color. So just concerning what's being asked here for the Garage 108, I would request or suggest or require, I'm not sure what my authority is here, that that particular building not be black. And then when the owners of the two adjacent buildings also come, I would have the same request of them.
Well, but we're not dealing with the other buildings at this point, Kevin.
Right. We're just dealing with 108. I get that. So just with 108, I would request that the building that you present a different color to us, that the building be painted, and so for us to review. All the openings, all the plans that you have for all the openings, I'm very much on board and very much approve everything that you're doing with that. And I love the fact that you're re-roofing it and maintaining the building, and that's great. Totally on board with that, even though that has nothing to do with the aesthetics. That's my.
So can I clarify one thing?
Wait a second. Why don't we get to the point that we're going to be? I'd like to let everybody else chime in if we could.
Well, it's about the paint color. I think there's a misunderstanding. Maybe these photos don't incorporate it correctly, but it's actually space gray, and it takes on different color light or looks when it's different, temperature or weather outside. So sometimes it looks blue, sometimes it looks gray, sometimes it looks black. So just as a clarification.
I think we're familiar with the color. Bridget, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, you're talking to this Bridget, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, when we saw a similar exterior treatment in the past couple of months, I was for it then, and I'm for this now, even retroactively. I think the uniform color has cleaned up what was definitely an eyesore on a very prominent corner. I think that the dark color looks sharp. It looks great. I agree that the windows and doors are going to be a great improvement. And I think it's going to work well with the color that it's presently painted. I think that since internally illuminated signs are permitted, but just not preferred, I think that a possible concession could be that the side that faces the Walgreens, which has plenty of these kinds of signs, that sign could potentially be internally illuminated. And the side that sees more pedestrian traffic could potentially be externally illuminated. I think it's a little bit tricky given the size and location of the windows, where those external fixtures would be mounted relative to the sign. I think it's possible, it's just a little tricky. I know too that making two different signs is not, it's two whole projects at that point. It's not just like, oh, I'll light this one internally and not the other one. I just think that it's unlikely that you're going to get both to be internally illuminated.
Okay, thanks, Bridget. Dennis, do you have a comment?
No comments.
Okay, and David?
Just say that I do think it's a great improvement. Not crazy about the color, but I'm not sure what we can do about it at this point. So,
okay, what we're going to need is a certificate of appropriateness, and either we recognize the fact that it has already been painted, and I have to admit, chances of us getting that changed.
Chair, may I interject and Heather,
go ahead.
Clarify for the record? Aren't they allowed just one sign in the CD, one wall sign in the CD district, so the front and back would be moot?
They are only allowed one, but we have since they have had one in the back before, we would approve another one, but they have removed it, so that would be a question maybe for Eric. So maybe the back one's not allowed now since it's been removed already.
Okay,
That's how long it's been removed for.
Yeah, I believe it's 6 months, right, Eric, isn't it?
Correct, 180 days.
Well, that's not our concern at this point.
We will verify that.
You guys have to deal with that, yeah.
Thank you.
So the it appears that the windows, the doors are everybody seems to be comfortable with that. I think Bridget's idea of the internally lit sign on the backside, which faces Walgreens, which has numerous signs that are internally lit, I certainly agree that that's probably okay. The historic pedestrian area as across the street, I would certainly recommend that we keep those externally lit instead of internally lit. But, and as far as the color is concerned, and I understand where you're coming from, Kevin, I don't know that anybody would make them repaint that building. I mean, frankly, you know, it had been painted white. It hasn't been brick for a long time. I'm not even sure it is brick. It may be cement block or block of some sort. So, you know, that's neither here nor there. But we're going to need one of you to come up with a certificate of appropriateness with whatever you'd like.
I want to add to what Howard just said. If we're saying whatever color this is, whether we like it or not, if we're saying it's okay because it's done, that just lets anybody paint a building and say, yeah, well, then I'm gonna ask for forgiveness later as opposed to asking for permission beforehand. And I mean, the idea of this group is, or this board, is to give permission to certain things. And I understand it's a huge expense to paint the building. And yes, they should have asked permission beforehand on the appropriate color. And if this is what they were proposing, I would not have approved it. Maybe Bridget Tipton would have, and that's fine. And maybe other people would have, and maybe the whole board would have, and that's fine. But I think that the color is still on the table for discussion and for approval.
Okay. I still need a certificate of appropriateness from somebody.
Well,
go ahead.
I'll do it.
You can
well,
break
I
it
guess
into the 4 sections: the garage doors, windows, paint, and sign. Might help organize that motion a
Yeah,
little
right.
bit.
Maybe you want to
okay.
do it. All right.
So this is one proposal with 4 sections. Is that what you're
Okay.
saying, Susan?
Very good.
Okay. All right. So I'm recommending a certificate of appropriateness with, and item 1 being the openings, that we approve them as presented today. Those being the overhead doors and the windows. Okay. Item 2 would be the signs, and what we're recommending approval is that the north or the front of the building have a sign that is externally lit, and that the south side of the building that faces Route 59 be internally lit. Is that everybody on board?
If allowed under the zoning code.
What did you say, Bridget?
If it is found to be allowed under the zoning code.
Yeah.
Oh, if it is allowed to be approved under the zoning code. And so item 3 would be the color of the building, the painting. I recommend in this proposal that a different color be proposed for the painting of the exterior of the building. And what's the 4th item?
Well, you can combine garage and window, so I have it separate, but that's okay. It's still,
right.
It's clarified. Thank you.
You're good.
So this proposal has 3 sections, not
Okay, very
4.
good. Very good. And is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, was that Dave?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Discussion?
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Relative to the signage first, would you consider, and Valerie and I haven't discussed this as an opportunity, I'm just asking as a point of clarification how the board might respond to a sign on the side of the building.
Well,
It's a blank facade now, and it's actually somewhat more visible from the corner than it in the street than it is from West College Street.
Very visible.
And it's all, and Miss Tipton's comment is a good one with the challenge relative to lighting that. And the sidewall would offer a much better opportunity for that.
I think it's a zoning issue. How many square feet of sign can they have?
Yeah, you're still only allowed to have one sign per address, and it's a maximum of 50 square feet.
All right. But
So either you only put the one up on the side and take the other two down, or you'd have it one in the back or one in the front.
Okay. So we've eclipsed, and I apologize, I came into this project a little bit late, but the 180 days on the signage on the rear, that's eclipsed, so that conversation is over. Do I understand that properly?
That would be correct.
Okay.
Can I make one comment? So we were getting a lot of calls about the barbell gym. And so part of the reason that got removed is because the constant phone calls that were occurring and people trying to come to a gym that is no longer a tenant.
The two signs were already a non-conforming use. So the purpose of the zoning code is when those non-conforming uses are removed, that they not be allowed to continue. That's why those time limits are put in. So clarification could have been provided by the city, but unfortunately some of these exterior modifications were done without consulting the city. So unfortunately we have to live with the determinations based on the time limits in the code.
So as a point of order, I guess I'm confused about the signs now. It's so the back sign is not approved. You can't put the back sign.
The 180 days has been confirmed by the designer as being removed. So it would just be one sign, but the location has not been determined where that one sign would
Whether it be in the front or the side, that they may want to put it on the side. Is that correct?
You know what I think at this point, and I don't want to speak for Valerie, but I would suggest we have the opportunity to study it. We have a 3D model.
Okay, that's a great idea.
We can take a look at it.
You can also come back to the art board next month with the sign.
Exactly.
That's right.
I think
They can do the garage and the window and the other aspect, and then you can come back for the sign.
Okay.
Right.
And also a variance could be requested to have the second sign if you wish to go that route as well.
And we may do that. And that's what the reason I'm asking the questions
That's
is
good.
to understand reasonable parameters to work with the board.
Sure.
And
At this point, is it a formal request then to continue the review of the sign to the next meeting?
I would say so, Valerie, you?
Yeah, that would be desired. And also too, I think it would be good to show you after pictures once the garage doors are installed and the windows are installed, because that might change the whole signage in general.
Well,
now, relative to process, if I could.
No, wait a second. At this point, wait a second. We have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
We still need to have approved the motion as presented, or a motion needs to be made to amend it.
And I would imagine at this point, the motion should be amended because the
Signs are not included.
sign is going to be tabled until the next meeting or at a later time. So would there be a motion to that effect to amend the motion as presented, eliminating the reference to the sign?
So we're clear, Kevin, you're withdrawing that part of your motion?
Yes.
And who seconded it?
All second.
Okay. So Eric, are we set to go at this point?
We're set to go.
Okay, we have the 2 points. We have the paint and we have the windows.
And garage doors.
And garage doors, right. Windows and garage doors we consider the same. So all in favor of the motion as presented, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so we have one opposed and the rest ayes?
Opposed.
You're opposed?
Yes.
Okay, so we have three, there's 5 of us, so 3 yes and 2 no. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
All right, very good.
So for the applicant, the motion carries, which means you'll need to come back for discussion of the signs as well as alternative paint color at the next meeting.
Right.
The only drawback I just want to mention, there is a nationwide shortage on raw materials. And so there's not much opportunity for paint. I actually got the last 50 plus buckets of paint for the interior than till unknown when.
Well, you'll have to deal with that as we go
Yeah,
as we move forward.
If I can ask a couple of questions, please.
Sure.
What, at this point, it didn't come up in the presentation today because it really didn't need to, but we do have a 3D model of the building, all three buildings together on the site. So the opportunity to provide you with the information that you need to try to resolve the paint color is available to us. If I could ask, what would be the most productive way to do that?
With the paint color, I would suggest that all three building owners come together with an application regarding the comprehensive painting that occurred prior to Architectural Review Board approval, and clarify why it was done, the plan for that versus a single property owner, because right now it can only be addressed legally for the single property owner.
I understand.
So
the other two owners are effectively in violation at this point. You're
Correct.
the only one that is actually addressing the issue. And we certainly would listen to whatever you have to say at the next meeting about this.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
So to clarify, the garage and window changes have been approved as presented by the motion.
Yes.
Of 3 in favor, 2 opposed.
Very good. Bridget, and thank you very much for coming and showing that to us. At this point, we just have a meeting summary to approve for the April 6th meeting.
And I need to clarify something too under other business, following the approval of the minutes.
We can go now, right?
Yes,
Yep,
thank
we're
you.
done. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. We did
Thank
not.
you all very
approve-
much. Appreciate it.
Okay, there was meeting summary,
For April 6th.
April 6th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as
I
presented?
did have some minor edits. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Howard.
You want to present those to us and we'll do it next week or next month?
We could do that. Sure. We'll just
Why
continue
don't you
the
just do that,
next.
Bridget?
Okay.
That'll be fine. Make your changes and we'll approve them next month.
Okay.
Discussion of the design guidelines for public art and exterior paint per council request. What does council have in mind?
Just really quick, the whole zoning code in its entirety was presented to council for discussion and review in March. And they raised a couple of questions, one dealing with solar energy, and then another regarding public art and exterior paint of buildings be brought back to them for as an aspect not under the Architectural Review Board's design guideline review. So we're going to be looking at that and highlighting where it would be in the proposed zoning code. It would not actually be the design guidelines themselves. It would be included under the Architectural Review Board's purview, and we'll present that to council for their review and consideration in June, potentially July. We have a few items we need to look at. Our goal is to take it back to council in June. I will
Okay.
let you all know about that and send that language out to you so you can, of course, part of that
Bring it
discussion.
to us before it goes to council so we can review it.
It would be if we will have an ARC board meeting in
Yeah.
May prior to that. So yes, I'll present it at that meeting. Yes, I'll send it out even before that though.
At the June meeting. Yeah, so we have an opportunity to discuss it before, so we could give our opinion before it goes to council.
Correct.
I assume that's what they want. Yeah.
Right. They basically wanted us to look at that. And so we're going to look at that and we'll send it to you and then take it to council.
Okay, very good. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Is there anything? I know that this was an unusual meeting, a very long meeting, Bridget, especially for me.
Yeah, and we have planning commission tonight too. So for Heather, Eric, and I, we've got to scoot and
Gotta
get
get
back
out of here.
to 6:30.
Well, I was just happy to see the rain because I was supposed to be playing golf right now. So, it worked out just fine for me. But
It's raining, Howard.
it's raining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about a motion to adjourn?
We need a motion to adjourn. Yes. Is there so moved by someone?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Good. Thank you.